Now, this is the first time I believe that we get Harry and Dumbledore.
Well, and if you remember, Harry never expected Voldemort to be able to get into Hogwarts.
Welcome back, witches, wizards, and muggles to Squibs Corner. I'm Jeremiah.
And I am Andrew.
And, wow. When did we start recording? Like, November? October?
I don't know. Yeah, it's been a few months. I'd have to look back.
Yeah, because so you guys listening, we pre-recorded about 4 months just because we were having so much fun filming, and, you know, life happens, and sometimes you can't record for weeks at a time, and we recorded...
Yeah, I think it was September, October that we started, knowing that we were going into the holidays.
Yeah,
and
so
that
it's
things
been
would come up.
About 5 months, I guess, give or take.
Yeah.
And we are at the last chapter of book 1, chapter 17, The Man with Two Faces. It feels like we just barely started recording, honestly.
Pop quiz, what was the first episode that we recorded together?
Oh, it was the intro, but then the boy who lived.
That was such a good guess, but no.
Oh no, it wasn't. It was chapter 2, or I mean book 2, chapter 14 or so. I can't remember where I left off. Yeah.
It was the dueling club.
Oh, I can't wait.
In book 2.
Yeah, so I know we're just now finishing book 1, but I can't wait to be done with book 2, because it's like I've been stuck in this loop of book 1 and 2 for at least 2 years now. So book 3 is when it's going to get exciting for me. I mean, I'm excited right now. I'm having fun, but it's like I'm trapped right now.
Yeah, book 3 is when it gets exciting for the series. Book 3 is when it she really ups her game. Books 1 and 2 are great.
They're more like intros, books 1 and 2. I mean, even book 2 is still kind of an intro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, whew, if you guys have been listening so far, what do you guys think of the podcast so far? What do you think of the book? I would like you guys to write into our Instagram or email us and let us know which book is your favorite book. And
why is it Deathly Hallows?
Exactly.
That's you just told me all about.
Deathly Hallows was my least favorite when I first watched and read them, because it was so
I didn't like you.
Well,
yeah,
it was
I
so
didn't like you for a
disconnected
reason.
from everything else. But then, as I got older and matured, I realized, well, that's why it's so great, because it's a little disconnected from the rest of it. But
yeah, my cousin, who's a huge Harry Potter fan, he loves Prisoner of Azkaban. And then Order of the Phoenix. And he likes 7, obviously, but he's like, he's like, the whole book is just Harry and Hermione wandering around.
Yeah, that's,
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but for the reason, the purpose. So good.
Well, so every once in a while they have Harry Potter in the movie theaters. Have you ever...
Do they really?
I don't know if they're still doing it. I think that they are. So the last time I watched them, I forced myself to watch each and every one of them, except when it got to the Deathly Hallows. Part 1, end scene, roll credits. I get up, I leave. A week later, I'm looking for the time for part 2. It played right after part 1. Oh my God. I was so disappointed. It's like I was heartbroken, honestly. I was like, I must have looked stupid too to like probably be one of the only person.
Yeah,
where's
he
like, going?
He must just be going to get snacks. He'll be back, right? The worst. You're the worst.
Yeah. But one more question to everybody listening. So aside from writing into us and telling us your favorite book or favorite movie, which chapter in book 1 would be your favorite? That is a good question, and that's probably something that will come up when we do our end of the book review.
Sure.
But right now, I think we're going to go ahead and jump into our 7-word summary. What you got for us?
7-word summary. This is where the story gets deeper.
Oh, well, that's way better than mine. Yeah, the whole entire book culminates to this point. Everything we thought we knew, everything we knew. Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
and even after, like, if you really pay attention, and we'll talk about it, obviously, Dumbledore and Harry, this is their first, like, conversation. And, you know, I wish we had more of that before you know, Order of the Phoenix and the Half-Blood Prince. Like, I wish we had more of that. But so we get this, and we learn a few things from it that makes the story not just a one-book story, but a story that is now feeding us into, oh, there's a lot more than this that we don't understand, and this is like really our first taste of it.
well, and it's cool too because if the series were to end right here, it'd be fine.
Sure.
I mean, she left it to where.
I disagree.
You know,
I disagree wholeheartly. I disagree. As
she
I'm
left it
thinking
kind of
about it.
open ended. You know, it could either end or it could continue. So,
Well, you know, Dumbledore says, yeah, Voldemort's not gone.
that's
So,
true. Yeah.
So
yeah.
if she were to end it here, you're like, okay, Harry's alive, Dumbledore's alive, Voldemort, like, okay, whatever happened to Voldemort?
True.
You know,
yeah.
so she did it. So it's like, oh, well, I've got to come back for book 2
Yeah.
to
So
see what
I have
happened.
to admit, I forgot to listen to this chapter. I sat down and started making the studio and went, oh, I forgot to listen to this.
All right, so I'm just gonna fly solo on this chapter. I'm just gonna.
Well, the
it's
only
just gonna be
question I
me.
have is this the chapter where Dumbledore is going down there and I think he asked Hermione, he went after him, didn't he?
Yes,
This is the chapter. I
This
wish I would
is
have
the
listened to it now.
chapter.
All right, so my 7-word summary is fairly simple and, well, don't judge a book by its cover. Quite cliche, but it fits. Don't judge a book by its cover.
And why did you choose that?
Well, we'll see once we get into it.
Oh, we'll talk about it.
Oh,
We'll
yes,
talk
we
about it.
will. And it
Okay.
comes up right away. So I could talk about it in about 30
Okay.
seconds from now.
Okay, so first paragraph. It was Quirrell.
And
So
there
to
we go.
recap.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Okay. Yes,
Everybody
yes,
thought
yes,
it was
yes.
Snape. Harry thought it
Yes.
was Snape. He fits the narrative. He
right.
fits the description. The
Yeah.
slyness, the sleekness, the greasiness. It wasn't him. It was Professor Stuttering Quirrell.
So to recap chapter 16 through the trap door, the Golden Trio goes after who they thought was Snape, and they go through a series of defenses. Can you, under pressure, name in order the defenses and the professor affiliated with the defenses? Ready, set, go. Number 1.
Three-headed dog would be Hagrid.
Number 2.
Oh, it was, I forget what the name of the plant, but it was I should remember the name of the plant. It was a
even a
plant, and it
catchy
was
little rhyme
Professor
to it, yeah.
Sprouts.
Devil Snare. So
Yeah,
we'll give that to
Devil
you.
Snare,
Judges,
Professor
Judges,
Sprout.
we're going to give that to him. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, we'll give that one to you. Number 3.
The third one is the keys,
There we go.
and
that
that's
was.
Flitwick.
I love it.
The fourth one is the troll, and that no, really, because the potions was the fifth one.
Oh, you're missing the most
Oh, okay, okay.
well-known one.
Fourth one is chess.
Okay.
And that was McGonagall's?
Sure, yeah. Transfiguration.
Okay. So the fifth one would have been the troll. That was Quirrell. And the sixth one was, sixth and final one was potions. Professor
Is it the
Snape.
final one?
Well, I mean, you go through the door and there's Quirrell, but
And what defense is there?
Voldemort. Whoa. Oh, the Mirror of Erised.
There we go. There we go.
Ding, 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 ding. I win, sort of.
Whose defense was that?
Dumbledore's.
Dumbledore. So this whole time, Ron, Harry, and Hermione were expecting to see Severus Snape at the end of the defenses.
That was early for a quiz.
That was good. You did a great job. I love giving you quizzes under pressure.
Hey, man, it's like when I'm in school. I know the material. Put it in front of me all together on a test. I don't know what goes to what. I don't know which is which. Yeah, it's bad.
So Harry goes to the door. Chapter 17 begins. It was Quirrell. So Harry is obviously surprised that Quirrell's standing there, and what he soon realizes is that it's not the poor, shy, stuttering Professor Quirrell that he wants. This is a confident, this is a guy that is sure of himself. Almost like Quirrell knows that he's so close to the goal that he's been working all year for, and he can taste it. And Harry was like, oh, God, I thought you would have been Snape. And Quirrell's like, yeah, you would think it was Snape. The guy that's always swooping around like a bat, who's in a bad mood and brooding. And yeah. No, we all would assume that it would be Snape. But my performance as poor stuttering Professor Quirrell really paid off. And Harry, he was just standing there. He was shocked. And then he's like, wait, but Snape tried to kill me. And then Quirrell's like, actually, Snape saved your life. He's like, what? And he goes, yeah, your little friend Hermione, on her way to Snape, bumped me, knocked me over, and I lost eye contact, and I was seconds away from killing you. He's like, yeah, but then he reffed. He's like, yeah, that's why he reffed the next game, to make sure that I couldn't do it again, but it doesn't matter. Because Dumbledore was there. What was I going to be able to do in front of Dumbledore? And then he goes, but it was all a waste of time anyway, because I'm going to kill you myself tonight. You know too much. You're a liability. Get ready.
So, two things. This is super classic. Super classic. Almost every movie you've ever watched that's some sort of murder mystery, or I married my best friend's husband, or something like that, some element stuff. It's never the person that you, oh no, it's him or it's her, 100%. Sure. Wow, it's not. So, and the second thing, this,
Go.
It goes around too much. I see it all. Why didn't they just use Avada Kedavra and get it over with? Come on.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of it. But then there's no story. The story, it's over.
Well, and my answer to that is we learn that in the second book, right? When we meet young Tom, he's like, I want to see the guy that I couldn't defeat. I want to see. I don't think Voldemort would just want to put him out of his misery like that. But my question is, now that we know it's Professor Quirrell, why did Quirrell wait until the end of the book? Well, I mean, until the end of the school year. He knew where the stone was being hidden. Why would he wait? I mean, and he had Voldemort assisting him. Weak, but he's still a powerful, as we see here in a minute. Yeah. As we see here in a minute, Voldemort knows that Harry's lying. He can read Harry's mind. So it's like, I don't understand why Quirrell. We understand why Snape would have, because he's like, oh, I want to figure out what hocus pocus we got to get through. But knowing that it was Quirrell, what was the point of waiting until the end of the school year?
Well, for that answer, so that Harry can get through his final exams. They're being polite.
He does care about his schooling. He does care
And
about his
second,
schooling.
you mentioned Voldemort being able to read Harry's mind, which is why it's one of the many reasons I put Snape at the top of the most powerful wizard list, because him, along with Voldemort, they're probably the world's best legilimens, at least in the wizarding world.
And the best at occlumency,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Because in book 6 and 7, like we learn, like Snape is a very, very powerful wizard.
Oh, yeah.
And I wish that it was conveyed a little more, but anyway,
I think it will be. I think it will.
we get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, that's what we do here. We get ahead and behind,
we
so
do.
it's all good. All right, so now, not only is he surprised that Snape's not the one standing there, he's surprised to hear that Snape isn't the one that tried to kill him at the Quidditch match. And, this is where this comes very good in the movies, because Quirrell is sitting there, and I don't think he's muttering anything. He's just staring at Harry, and Snape's the one sitting there muttering something to himself, not breaking eye contact with Harry. So it's very fitting that, well, yeah,
But
Snape
they
was trying.
didn't even look at Quirrell. Why would they assume Quirrell? There was
Yeah.
no reason. They only look over at Snape and see him clearly. Yeah, easy to assume.
Yeah, well, Quirrell's
Easy.
so nervous and so he stutters. I mean, no one's gonna. Oh, you stutter, you're evil. No one thinks that.
Yeah.
So Snape, like you said, refereed the following match to make sure Quirrell didn't try it again, but he couldn't have anyway because Dumbledore was there. So Dumbledore caught wind of what was going on, knew something was happening. Dumbledore always knows something is happening, and he's real, for the most part, subtle about it.
Sure.
But I guess as we go on, he's not so subtle. And I think at one point, Dumbledore asked Harry, "You're probably wondering why I asked you to come to my office today." Professor, at this point, I just go with it. That's great. So Quirrell professes that he's the one trying to kill Harry tonight anyway, so it was a waste of time for Snape to try to save him. What an absolute plot twist. Nobody suspected this. I mean, it's actually great. I wish I could go back to the first time I ever watched or read Harry Potter, and I wonder if I had a reaction or if I was like, oh, of course it's somebody that you weren't expecting. I don't know what my reaction. What was your reaction? Do you remember?
Man, I was 15 years old, so we're going to go almost 25 years ago.
You remember it perfectly as if it were yesterday.
No, there are parts of the books that I do remember reading for the first time.
This is not one of them.
Well, I think the most, and I'm sure I thought that this was a plot twist. Things from this, in the next book, finding out that it was Ginny, in book 3. Talk about plot twists in book 3. They're hunting down a murderer. You know what I'm saying? So there are, I remember, but the thing as reading, and I might have said this before, the thing that got me the most was in book 6 with Dumbledore.
Yeah.
That, I remember where I was sitting, reading it with my wife, and had to put the book down.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, I know I keep getting off topic, but my son's actually wanting to watch the Harry Potter movies now, and
Hey, there you go.
You can only watch them in little short bursts because I'm sure it's because of the ADD, but
Sure.
he's watched the first movie so many times that he's actually sitting there go, oh, I remember this, and he tells me what's going to happen, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so proud right now.
So proud. So proud.
Oh, it's great. Okay, no more interruptions.
Sure. Sure.
Just wait like 5 sentences.
Yeah.
So Quirrell snaps his fingers and ropes bind Harry just out of nowhere because magic. Quirrell vents his frustrations that on Halloween, that's hardly mentioned at all, his troll didn't kill Harry and that Fluffy didn't bite Snape's leg off. After all, the only reason Snape went to the third floor corridor was to head off Quirrell, since he suspected him from the beginning. Then Quirrell turns his attention to a mirror that Quirrell proclaimed to be the answer to finding the stone. We've all seen this mirror before, the Mirror of Erised, and it's fitting and a little surprising. I guess I wouldn't say fitting. It's a little surprising that Quirrell knew what the mirror was, but I don't think he knew exactly. Well, he says, "I see what I want, but how do I get it?" So you don't necessarily get the things that are in the mirror, though.
So
but,
So because you didn't read this chapter, what did he see?
He saw himself with the stone,
And
he was presenting it to his master.
there you go. There you go. So Quirrell's obviously frustrated. It's a Dumbledore task, a Dumbledore defense. But he doesn't care. He knows Dumbledore's in London, and by the time that Quirrell gets everything done, gets the stone, kills Harry, he'll be long gone before Dumbledore gets back to Hogwarts. And so Harry's like, okay, well, if that's your plan.
And remember, at this point, Dumbledore's gone. He's not there. He got urgent call to go to the Ministry, left immediately.
He got an owl. He received an owl.
Yeah. And I said call.
You did say call. Which reminds me, I was going to bring this up last book. But,
last chapter, you mean?
Yeah, the last chapter. So they make a couple of comments throughout the books about, how muggles find ways to get things done. And it's like, instant communication is something that the wizarding world lacks drastically.
Well, it's amazing how they communicate. But yeah, you would think their communication would be par none. I mean,
bro, you texted me an internet link. Of course.
Yeah.
This is taken back. This is taking place in this would be early part of 1992, right? The book is taking place. But we had cell phones. We had cell phones in the early 90s.
Barely.
And
the big Nokia bricks.
Landlines. We had landlines. But which got me thinking, obviously there's two workarounds with that. But she did say that he received an owl. So later in the books, we learn about flu powder and how you can communicate through the flu network, which is in the fireplaces. And in book 7, we actually see that people can send their Patronus with messages that show up. So anyway, so that was my answer to my own question. So anyway. So
this chapter is going to be renamed Full of Distractions.
Full of Distractions because we love Harry Potter so much we can't help ourselves. Okay, I'm focused.
Long name.
I'm on chapter 17 now. So Quirrell's like, I'll be out of here and gone by the time Dumbledore gets back. So Harry's like, okay, then my game plan is to stall. So he tries to keep talking to Quirrell so that he can distract him. And he asked him about Snape. And while looking around the mirror, he said that Snape doesn't really matter since Lord Voldemort is on Quirrell's side. Then he looks in the mirror and he says, I see the stone. I'm presenting it to my master.
Quite literally.
And then he gets frustrated because he can't find the stone. He can see the reflection of the stone, but he can't find the stone. And then Harry goes, well, why is Snape? Snape's always been mean to me. He's always hated me. And then Quirrell, again, we learn some backstory. We learn that Snape and Harry's father went to Hogwarts together at the same time and that they hated each other. So, cool little new bit of information that we're getting that shows up more than once in the series. I'll tell you exactly where right now. And then he asked, when Quirrell was hiding crying in the classroom earlier, a couple days or weeks ago, that it wasn't Snape. He was being punished by Voldemort for not getting the job done. And Harry is then realizing that, Voldemort was in the classroom with him. And then Quirrell responds with, "He is with me wherever I go." Which is like a, ugh, what does that mean type.
Yeah, it's such a trip. So I don't know if you heard. I'm sure you heard about this. So Voldemort's actual look, he was supposed to look more,
He
I
looked
guess, demon-ish
very,
with big
yes.
teeth, but they didn't want to scare the kids
Yeah.
too much. So it turns out that Quirrell met Voldemort on his travels around the world. So that would explain why. I'm pretty sure Quirrell was normal. He went on his travels, came back, and then he was like he is during this first book. He says that he was a foolish boy then, with foolish notions about good and evil. Voldemort taught him, there is no good and evil. There is only power. No. There is no good and evil. There is only power. And those two wait to seek it. Yeah.
Such a classic Voldemort quote.
I
Classic
love it.
Voldemort quote.
Those two weak to seek it. Great. Ever since then, Quirrell has served Voldemort faithfully. Voldemort does not forgive mistakes easily, like when he failed to steal the stone from Gringotts. He was punished for his failings. Harry had realized that he had seen Quirrell in the leaky cauldron on the day that Gringotts had been broken into. It was all starting to make sense. Then Quirrell went back to the mirror. Harry had a plan. The thing that he wanted most in the world was to find the stone so that Quirrell couldn't. So if he looked in the mirror, it would show him finding the stone. But he's still tied up with ropes and unable to get in front of the mirror. Instead, he ends up falling over, which is actually kind of funny. Then something happened that Harry never would have expected. While talking to himself, Quirrell says, "Master, help me." And another voice responded.
That would give me, yeah, don't like that.
Yeah. No.
So then he hears this voice, this kind of quiet, high-pitched voice. Use the boy. Use the boy. So Quirrell makes Harry come to the mirror. Robes come off. Harry looks in the mirror and he sees himself. The reflection puts his hand in his pocket, pulls out a blood-red stone, obviously the Philosopher's Stone. When the reflection puts the stone back in the pocket, Harry felt something heavy drop into his own pocket. Quirrell asks him what he sees, and he recites basically what Ron saw earlier. Oh, I see myself shaking hands with Dumbledore. I'm winning the House Cup. We've won the all this stuff. And Quirrell's like, get out of here. That doesn't help me at all. And as Harry's walking away from the mirror, he's contemplating now, can I run? Can I make a break for it? And then the cold voice says again, he lies. He lies. So somebody knows. Somebody knows that he's lying. So Quirrell tells him to come back, tell the truth, but the other voice says, let me speak to him face to face. Quirrell, kind of relenting, began to undo his turban. Where there should have been a back to Quirrell's head, there's a face. The most terrible face, it says, that Harry had ever seen. It was chalk white with glaring red eyes and slits for nostrils like a snake. Harry Potter, the voice whispered.
It's just great.
It is great.
You could have just made him a voice in the room or some inanimate object, but I don't think anybody expected a face to be on the back of someone's head.
Well, and if you remember, Harry never expected Voldemort to be able to get into Hogwarts.
Yeah.
He thought that Snape was going to steal the stone, take it out to the woods, to the Forbidden Forest, where Voldemort would be hiding out. Never in a million years would he be like, you know what, though? I bet he's a face on the back of Quirrell's head. Like, all of this has to be. But I think it says a couple of times when he goes through this, Harry was rooted to the spot. Harry couldn't move. Like, it's all pretty shocking stuff.
Which, plot holes, I guess you could say. How did Dumbledore and or Snape not know about this?
Well, you've got one of the world's best Occlumens
I guess he could block. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
I mean, that would be my guess.
Very simple,
right?
yet, yeah, it makes sense.
And they know, and like Hagrid said, Quirrell traveled the world, and they said, oh well, he got his stutter from a run-in with a vampire or a werewolf or something like that, and he smells like garlic, and so there's a lot of rumor, Hogwarts gossip, or maybe Wizarding World gossip of why he has now become the way that he's become. And the turban was a gift.
The seed has been planted for sure.
Right? They said the turban was a gift from for casting out a banshee or something like that. So it's like, okay, the turban makes sense, the stutter makes sense, the smells make sense. Cool.
Yeah, it's just Hogwarts has an extreme lack of security, even though they seem very secure. They are not.
Yes.
So now Voldemort explains how he has somewhat survived the past 10 years, and that as soon as he gets the stone, he'll have the strength to create a new body. Then he screams, "Now, why don't you give me that stone in your pocket?" Even in this state, Voldemort is still a powerful wizard. Harry tried to move away. Voldemort told him not to be stupid, which I don't know. For some reason in this book, the use of the word stupid, I like it because, I don't know, they're not trying to code it or anything like that or walk around it. No, don't be so stupid.
It's like in the old Disney animated films, if they called somebody a fool, that was like the ultimate, like, you fool, don't be a fool. It's like, oh, they really mean it. Ursula's upset now.
I don't know. It's kind of unexpected, I guess.
Sure.
When they do that, I'm like, whoa, okay. He also told them that his parents died begging him for mercy. Harry wouldn't have any of that. He called Voldemort a liar. You liar!
Yeah.
That's
my guy. My Harry. Let's go.
Then Voldemort tries to sweet-talk Harry about how brave he is, how brave his parents were. Harry's too smart for that. Harry leapt towards the flame door. Towards the flame door?
Well, remember, so there were flames. He had to come through flames to get in there.
Okay, yeah.
And I assume that maybe they pop back up, but the book's like,
wouldn't those flames
flame
be
or flaming
fiend flames? And you can't go through that, right? Because it's just hot.
Well, I doubt
it's cursed.
Well, the fiend fire, I mean, he took a potion to walk through it.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's still okay.
So I don't know.
I
don't know.
Thinking long term there. There you go. We need long term thinkers on this podcast, so it works out.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
But then now Voldemort yelled for Quirrell to seize him. Seize him! Quirrell was able to grab Harry around the wrist, and all of a sudden, Harry began to experience searing pain in his scar, like blinding pain, and he tried with all of his might to get Quirrell off of him, and it worked. Harry's head immediately felt better. He looked around to see where Quirrell had gone and was surprised to see that he was crouched down in pain, looking at his hands and fingers, which were now covered in blisters. Seize him! Seize him! Voldemort cried. And Quirrell went back on the attack, knocking Harry over and grabbing his neck with both hands. Harry's scar immediately began to sear as though his head were going to burst. Another instance where Harry's scar is hurting.
Yeah, we've seen it in this book, and we see it a lot throughout the book, those stories, so it's really good. So he's knocked over by Quirrell. Quirrell's got his hands on around his neck, and now he's freaking hurt. Well, Harry also hears Quirrell start howling in agony, begging Voldemort to let him stop, and Voldemort told him to kill Harry. So instinctually, Harry, knowing that it's painful for Quirrell to touch him, he reaches up and puts his hands on Quirrell's face, which blisters his face, but also makes Harry's scar like absolutely intolerable. But he knew if he let up Quirrell's directives, who he follows his master's directives, instructions and directions, it's either go through this pain or Quirrell's going to kill him. So he did it again, and he had to keep him. He had to keep him in enough pain so that he couldn't kill him, and obviously it's the only way to survive. And Quirrell is trying to like shake him off with all his might because he's in so much pain. And so Harry hangs on for dear life, and the pain in Harry. The only, Harry's hands were fine. Harry's skin was fine, but the only pain that he was experiencing was in his scar, and now it's hurting worse than anything that he had ever experienced. And as Harry hears Voldemort yell, "Kill him, kill him," he also heard other voices calling Harry's name, Harry, Harry, and he wasn't sure if that was something he was hearing or if it was something in his head, because as he has now endured as much pain as he can. I mean, imagine like if it's your shoulder, if it's your knee, yeah, but this is your head.
Yeah.
Right? I have patients come in all the time with migraines and how debilitating that is.
Oh yeah.
Now you've got, that's the worst. And especially when she's the blinding pain, searing pain, head going to burst. And then he just kind of sank into this blackness.
Lights out.
Lights out. And then as he slowly is able to open his eyes, he sees something golden. He tries to reach it, but his arms are too heavy. He can't do it. It's just out of his reach. And he thinks it's a snitch. Right? My man, my Quidditch guy. He's like, is this a snitch?
It's crazy that an 11-year-old was just like, hey, if I die, I die. It's crazy.
Well, he fought for his life, right?
Yeah.
He's like, here I am in a life or death situation. This is what I have to do. Oh, my head feels like it's going to burst now. Okay, well, I'm going to fight this pain so that I can at least survive this. And here's the cool thing. He did it until his body literally gave up.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh.
He did it until his body literally gave up.
Which happens a lot in real life. People get pain so much that boom, lights out.
Sure.
When I got sick this last time, I almost, passed out a few times. Not from pain, just from my body just being weak.
So
just
weak,
all of a sudden weak. Well, that something golden just out of reach. It was the smiling face of Professor Dumbledore. Now, this is the first time I believe that we get Harry and Dumbledore in the same room together actually having a conversation. For the most part, it's just been them kind of just staring and winking at each other, or Dumbledore nodding at Harry kind of thing. Harry was in the hospital wing. Harry was worried that Quirrell had the stone, but Dumbledore reassured him that Quirrell did in fact not have the stone. There was a table full of goodies that his fellow Hogwarts students had sent him. What happened down in the dungeons? I love this.
This is such a good one.
What happened down in the dungeons between you and Professor Quirrell is a complete secret. So, naturally, the whole school knows. I just love the way the whole school knows.
It's so good.
He's just, Harry has been in the hospital wing for 3 days. Oof. Imagine being in that much pain that you wake up 3 days later. That's a coma, right? He's in a coma for 3 days, basically.
Sure, yeah. I think we would, yeah.
Dumbledore tells him that as soon as he got to London, he knew he needed to be back at Hogwarts. He arrived just in time to pull Quirrell off of Harry. Do you like how the movie showed it? Or do you like how the book describes it?
So, if memory serves, Quirrell kind of like turned to ash type deal. Almost like a Thanos snap type deal. He just kind of did all that. I think that's cooler. Because we don't.
Yes, I do.
We don't see what happens in the book. We just know that Harry passes out.
So remember, when it comes to the movies and the books, remember this. Remember how Quirrell died. Because in the last book, what? absolutely terrible.
Did not
Book was
like
great.
that.
Book is
Did
great.
not- yeah.
Movie. When I'm watching a movie with someone, and that part comes up, I'm actually embarrassed. Like I don't get embarrassed either, but that embarrasses me. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, it's like, I don't know why they did it. It almost, when you're watching a movie, great movie, great movie, great movie, and then you get to the end, and it's like they just put up a middle finger and said, "This, what are you gonna do about it?" That's how that was. It's like you did this, but then did that. What? That was ridiculous.
Cinematically,
it was terrible.
Right.
Cinematically, it was terrible.
Cinematically, it was good. You had the main protagonist and the main antagonist. The music, the atmosphere, the burning. Like, if you knew nothing about the books,
the scene itself was great, but the very end to the scene, terrible. Yeah, terrible.
And because the way that they did it in the book made so much sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
terrible.
So in this instance, there are a few instances where I like what the movie did compared to what the book did. But we don't see anything. We just know that Quirrell's done.
To be fair, I feel like the movie was more, at least this part was more adult, and in the book it was more kid.
Sure. Yeah. Because in the movie, Quirrell fades, turns to ashes, disintegrates, and then the spirit of Voldemort, the ghost of Voldemort, the remains of Voldemort.
Yeah, that was awesome. Great.
Flies through
and that's just
Harry,
the first movie.
And that's when he collapses.
Yeah.
So cool. I get it. I like it.
And with the last book, the book was more adult, and the movie was more kid. Terrible, just terrible. That's the worst scene.
I don't know if it was more kid, but that scene just rubbed me the wrong way.
It didn't do the whole entire series justice. It just it made it look bad. I don't know.
And then when they're on the tower, and Harry's like, "Let's finish this like we started," and they both jump out the window and start flying around. I'm like, what is this? This is terrible. And then they kind of merge while they're fighting, flying. What? Why? This is unnecessary.
Here at Squibs Corner, we like to get off track. Like I said, I don't even remember what I said the name of this chapter needs to be.
It's Harry Potter related.
Oh yeah, but this chapter is just called The Distraction or whatever.
Yes.
But okay, so now let's get back to it. He tells Harry that the stone has been destroyed. Harry was surprised by this. Then he realizes that, Nicholas Flamel, he's going to die. And Dumbledore says, to one as young as you, I'm sure it seems incredible. But to Nicholas and Perennial, right? I'm saying that right? Perennial? Perennial. It really is like going to bed after a very, very long day. After all, to the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. The things he says is...
It's so good.
It's great. And that's how...
so good.
Honestly, that's how we all wish... at least I think that's how we all wish death would be. Just like going to bed after a very long day.
Sure. And we know, and JK has been very vocal, or at least has been in the past. You see a lot of Christian values in Harry Potter. They celebrate Christmas. You've got, the Harry dying. You've got soul splitting, right? So, I think, her thing is to the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure, which is such...
It's crazy to think about.
Because
most people fear death, you know, and if you sit down long enough and you think about it long enough, you get this weird anxiety feeling about it, like, oh wow, and then you have this life crisis,
Did you ever watch the movie Hook?
That's my ultimate all-time favorite movie.
Great movie.
Me
Captain
and my
Hook,
brother.
Captain Hook says something similar.
Yeah, he does.
He does, yes.
Yeah, me and my brother. Our favorite line in there is, "You rude crude bag of pre-chewed food, dude."
Oh, rest in peace, Robin Williams.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, so
great.
good.
I was devastated when that happened.
Terrible. So, because we're not distracted and we're talking about Harry and Dumbledore's conversation.
This chapter is called "The Man with Two Faces," not the distraction.
That's right. The podcast with two completely different directions. So he drops this quote, to the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. And so then Harry, that kind of sombers Harry, just thinking about Nicholas and Perenelle. And he goes, I've been thinking, sir, even if the stone's gone, you know who. And Dumbledore's like, call him Voldemort, Harry. Always use the proper name for things. Fear of a name increases fear of the thing itself. And he said that to McGonagall earlier, and he's going to say that in the books to come. And so
that rings true to life too. Like we're so afraid to try new things. Just do it. It's crazy.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is, the thing that we're afraid of to the point of avoiding is the thing that controls us. And so him saying fear of a name increases fear of the thing itself. So Harry realizes that Voldemort's still going to try to make a comeback, even if the stone's destroyed, and that he's not actually dead or gone. And Dumbledore agrees, knowing that Voldemort is neither truly alive or truly dead. And then Harry, and this is where I think it gets really cool for us as the reader in book one, Harry wants to ask some serious questions, and he wants the truth. And I love Dumbledore here, who's a very wise man. The truth, Dumbledore sighed. It is a beautiful and terrible thing, and should therefore be treated with great caution. However, I shall answer your questions unless I have a very good reason not to, in which case I beg you'll forgive me. I shall not, of course, lie.
This chapter is just full of, oh my God, such good knowledge after the other.
Yeah.
And this, when you're raising your kids, you don't want to lie to them.
Sure.
But you will exclude information when it needs to be excluded. But I tell my son, I will never lie to you. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
We don't need to bring up the holidays, but
not everything is appropriate for, especially in Harry's case with Harry's past. Some of the answers just aren't appropriate for him at this point.
Yeah, there you go.
And Dumbledore is super wise. So first, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so first, Harry wants to know why Voldemort wants to kill him in the first place, because earlier Voldemort, when he's telling Harry, like, oh, you're being so brave, your dad died to defend you, and your mom died to defend you. So he's like, well, they were defending me. Why did Voldemort want to kill me in the first place? And this is a question that Dumbledore's not willing to answer him at this time. He says, later I'll tell you, but right now...
I love what he says, like, oh, alas, the first question you ask, I cannot tell you.
Alas, the first question. Yeah. But I will tell you in due time. So second, he wants to know why Quirrell couldn't touch him. And Dumbledore explains that your mother died to protect you. And another theme that we're going to see throughout the books, love has very powerful magical traits to it. So Harry's mother dying to protect him from Voldemort gave him certain protections against Voldemort. Now, in this case, because Quirrell, who was obviously bound with Voldemort, wanted to act with such hatred and malice, the actual touching of the skin and feeling something as strong as Harry's love was too much for that vessel to stand. So it was, destroying Quirrell while Voldemort was a part of him. And Harry, I like how it's written, because after Dumbledore, tells him that, Dumbledore looks out the window and it says that he was, distracted looking at a bird or a butterfly or something, and then you realize Harry's wiping his eyes. So Dumbledore was allowing him to experience, instead of doing that, oh, no need to cry, you're good, your mom loves you and all that stuff. No, he let him. And as a parent, I try to do that.
Like he didn't know either.
Yeah,
so kind of let Harry save face, I guess.
Letting Harry experience those emotions.
Yeah.
So third, did Dumbledore know who sent him the invisibility cloak? Which is a great question. I don't know why he thought that Dumbledore would know, but Dumbledore's like, your father left the cloak in my possession. So Dumbledore had it when his parents died. And he said, and Dumbledore wanted Harry to have it. And he goes,
so
your dad
when you think about that,
it.
Dumbledore is the one that gave the cloak back,
So
just in case.
Yes. So Dumbledore is the one that gives...
Which is insane, because the cloak is on top of the astronomy tower. So Dumbledore had to have known what happened. He had to have known everything and just let it unfold and say, oh, Harry, here you go.
Well, and what's wild is that we don't learn for several books how Dumbledore knows all these things. Do you know how he knows all these things?
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm sure once you say it, I will, but...
The portraits.
Oh, I've seen something about this
portraits.
online. They were calling him, Dumbledore has informants everywhere.
That's right. All of the portraits can leave their frames and go see Dumbledore.
So you got to think about those chocolate frog cards. I'm pretty sure they were made for a reason.
That's right. If they are within Hogwarts, they can move anywhere.
How many
in
students
Hogwarts.
do you think have those cards? Probably a lot.
Well, and I don't know I don't know if the chocolate frog cards have the same power as the school portraits. That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. Can chocolate people on chocolate frog cards move to other chocolate frog cards? I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. But we do know that all of the portraits in Hogwarts can move to all of the portraits in Hogwarts. And we also learned that if you have a portrait in another facility, then you can move to and from. So it's really cool how she just adds that layer of magic in there.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
So anyway, and then Dumbledore gives a little bit of clarity of Harry's dad and Snape. They didn't like each other. They didn't get along. They were kind of at each other. And then, your dad did something unfathomable. Your father did something, he saved Snape's life. And Dumbledore says, I think the reason that Snape was, trying so hard to protect you this year was so that he could kind of repay that debt, so that he could, hate you without feeling the burden of what your dad did.
Which is
we
another
get more
thing.
clarification in book 3. Like, it's something that she comes... I've said this many, many times. She's so great at dropping little bits of knowledge and cool stuff, and then she'll reuse it at the most unexpected times. So it's super cool that we're getting this. And this storyline right here obviously does not go away.
Yeah.
So then Harry asked Dumbledore... how Harry was able to get the stone. He goes, how was I able to get the stone? And Dumbledore's like, this was a very clever bit of magic, and for me, that's saying something. But basically, his defense was anybody that was trying to get the stone for personal use would not be able to get it. But somebody that wanted to get the stone, not use it, protect it, keep it away from Voldemort, keep it away from Quirrell, they would be able to get it, which is almost one of those things like, Harry, you passed the test.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh,
It
man.
does. Dumbledore
Yeah.
doesn't say this here, but it's like,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
it's a.
So that's why he was able to get the
So,
stone because
would
he
you
didn't want
think-
to use the stone.
Who do you think made the Mirror of Erised?
Made it.
Uh-huh.
I personally, and I think we talked about this several chapters ago, I think Death made the Mirror of Erised. Because when it's an ancient artifact, they don't know who made it, right? It's been around for ages and ages and ages. And when Dumbledore talks about, tells Harry, like, men have wasted their lives sitting in front of the mirror, for it neither gives knowledge or wisdom, so it seems like that's one of those things that Death would create to
It also does
collect.
sound like Dumbledore made it, though. Because he's able to make little altercations to it.
Well, he doesn't alter the mirror. It still shows them what they
Yeah.
want, but the spell is where the stone is, because the stone is never in the mirror, right? It's not like it's inside the mirror, but yeah, I don't. Well, the theory of Dumbledore being Death, right? You've heard that theory.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it could be one
Well,
and the same.
I've even sort of made that theory to a point. I don't necessarily agree with that theory, but we'll get to it when we.
I don't either.
Yeah. Oh. All right. You got something? You got something for
You
me?
know what that
Hitting me with the
means.
pop quiz. You're gonna
You know
make
what
me
that
look like a
means.
fool again, huh?
I think you can get this one.
I
think
know
you
the
can get this
answer,
one.
but the minute you ask me, I don't know it. So let's do it.
Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to ask you a question. So, let's see. I'm just making sure, because I know the answer. I just want to make sure that I get them in the right order.
More than one answer, huh?
Okay, no. So, there is a pile of goodies, right, from the friends, admirers of Hogwarts. And there's a box of Bertie Bott's
every flavor beans.
beans. And Dumbledore, Harry offers one to Dumbledore, and Dumbledore says no. Why? Or because he had a bad experience when he was a kid. What flavor was the bean when he was a kid?
Booger flavored?
You're close. It's not bogey flavored as they do it.
bogey
Not
flavored.
not bogey flavored.
But then he says he thinks he'd be okay with a, what does he say, a toffee, right?
Yeah. So in
Yeah.
his youth, he got a vomit flavored one.
Vomit. Okay, yes.
And then he's like, okay, I can deal with the toffee one. So he pops the toffee one. It is not toffee. What flavor is it?
Alas, earwax.
Alas, earwax. All right, so you were 50% on that one. Bogey was a good guess though, because bogey flavor does come up in Bertie Bott's every flavor beans.
Yeah, I think Ron says that.
Yeah, he had a bad experience with a vomit flavored.
Oh Jesus, that. Oh no!
And then he got earwax. All I'm saying is that Bertie Bott's would make a fortune if they had a box of all of the good flavors. You know what I'm saying?
But then where's
Like
the fun?
kids, I still think the kids would buy. Have you ever had Bertie Bott's every flavored beans?
Yeah, I wish they were a little bit more extreme though.
Some of
Honestly.
them were terrible. Did not
Yeah.
enjoy them whatsoever.
Yeah.
They got me. They got me
Well,
good.
now Ron and Hermione come in to visit later. They were afraid that Harry might have died due to his injuries, though
He
Hermione
was in there for
could
3 days.
exactly
3
yeah.
days.
Could you imagine worrying about knowing what happened, knowing what they went through, and you don't hear from your best friend for 3 days?
Yeah.
Like I tell my friend, I call him my brother, but he lives in California, and I say, man, if you don't hear from me for a couple days, you got to start contacting people because something's wrong with me. But let's see. Although Hermione couldn't not bring herself to say it, she didn't want to admit that he might be dead. Yeah. So Ron was stoked that the whole school was talking about it. Cause I'm pretty sure because he was involved. So
yeah, he was involved. Yes, yes.
kind of gloating, tooting his own horn. They told him to tell them what really happened. So Harry recounted what happened after he and Hermione split up. It turns out the truth in this situation was better and more wild than the rumors that were being discussed by the other students. Ron also had a hard time accepting that Flamel and his wife were readying themselves to accept death. Okay, I think I got a quiz time for you. How old was Nicholas Flamel at this time?
Is it in the 800s?
I'm looking it up.
Is it in the
It says at 665 years old, Nicholas and his 658-year-old wife Pernell certainly made use of the elixir, but having lived more than 6 centuries in the wizarding world, they favor a quiet life. The real Nicholas... So, the Nicholas Flamel is based on a real person. So, the real Nicholas Flamel,
alchemy,
because...
Yeah,
because he was a real person, it's probably born around 1330, near Paris.
Here's what's weird about that. Nicholas Flamel was 665.
Yes.
Albus Dumbledore was 100 and something. So that means Nicholas Flamel was already 400 something years old before Dumbledore was even born. So his work on alchemy with his partner, maybe I thought that it said they had figured out the Sorcerer's Stone or something. So I guess it makes sense. He could have, Flamel could have been teaching.
Yeah, he could have.
Dumbledore about
yeah.
alchemy, and they could, because it did say, the Sorcerer's Stone, when Hermione read it, it's like there's been many. The only one known in existence right now is in Flamel's name. So, okay, all right, I'm happy with that.
All right.
No plot hole there.
Nope. We learned that Hermione was able to get back to Ron. It took a little while to wake him up from his head injury, as they were approaching the owlry to send a letter to Dumbledore. They passed him in the entrance hall, and he rushed off to the 3rd floor. I want you to say owlry.
Now, listening to you say it, I'm going to make sure I put it in as many scripts as possible. The owlry. The owlry.
Owlry?
The owlry.
It's awkward. So Ron asks if Harry thinks Dumbledore gave him the cloak, knowing that he would use it the way he did. Harry thinks so. We think so.
We think so.
And I'm pretty sure it's Harry saying this part, right?
Yes. I'm
going to try to do a Harry accent. I don't think I can, though.
I believe in you.
He's a funny man, Dumbledore. I think...
Wow, that's so nasally. That was so nasally.
It's also a little too close to the mic. All right. Try it again.
No, I loved it.
He's a funny man, though. All right. Let's hear your Harry. Let's hear your Harry. Let's see you try.
Channel 11-year-old British kid. He's a funny man, Dumbledore. I think he sort of wanted to give me a chance. I think he knows more or less everything that goes on here. I reckon he had a pretty good idea we were going to try, and instead of stopping us, he just taught us enough to help. I don't think it was an accident he let me find out how the mirror worked. It's almost like he thought Like he thought I had the right to face Voldemort if I could.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Better than my attempts. They remind Harry that he has to make it to the end of the year feast because food. Slytherin won.
Yes.
Well, I mean, what other reason, really?
That's
the
wrong.
awards? Who cares?
Yeah.
Slytherin won, and they lost their last Quidditch match because Harry was in the hospital wing, but he wouldn't want to miss the food. See? There you go. He wouldn't want to miss the food.
It's my man
There you go,
Ron. My man Ron.
Yeah, typical Ron. Harry then has one last visitor before he was able to go to the feast. Hagrid comes in, crying, just bawling. Oh, this Hagrid. Blaming himself for all the mistakes he made, especially telling Quirrell how to get past Fluffy. So, if you didn't pay attention a couple chapters ago, I actually didn't bleep out that Quirrell was the one that Hagrid won the dragon off of. So, I didn't think it was too incriminating at that point. But, yeah, Quirrell is the one that he told how to get past Fluffy. And Hagrid had no clue who this person is. That's why I said he was 2 sheets to the wind. I mean, you can't even see this guy's face. You don't know who you're talking to, and you're going to tell him that? That's protecting the Sorcerer's Stone. Exactly how to get past him.
Pop quiz. What does 2 sheets in the wind mean?
Drunk, hammered.
Where'd they get it from?
I don't know.
It's a pirate saying. In really bad storms, the sheets are the sails, and the sails move around. So,
Okay.
that's when pirates get really drunk. You know, they're kind of walking around like this, and like, man, he's 2 sheets in the wind. He's all over the place.
That's great. Let's see, where was I?
Harry tells him to cheer up.
Oh, yeah. So Harry, he tells him to cheer up. They stopped Voldemort from getting the stone. He gives... What was that?
That was we stopped Voldemort.
The freeze frame.
Cheering. That's the thumbnail.
I hope. He gives Harry a present. And this is one of the best presents that I would imagine Harry would get in his entire life.
Yeah.
So
now
thoughtful.
in the movie, he gives it to him at the train,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah. But it's on one hand, it's a lame gift, but on the other hand,
no.
How would you feel if somebody handed you a photo album as an 11-year-old?
Of my dead parents who I have no memories of?
No. I mean, assuming your life is perfectly normal. Somebody hands you. So it's lame on that hand. But in this instance, where Harry doesn't know any of his family, his parents are dead.
Yeah.
Great gift.
Awesome gift.
So like I said, the gift is a photo album with pictures containing his mom and dad. Hagrid had sent requests out to everyone who knows his parents, and they had sent in photos for the book. Which is also great that he reached out to who knows how many people, and they were all like, yeah, I got some pictures. Here you go.
And I like how Hagrid in the movie, doesn't he go over some of them? Like, oh, here's,
I think so.
Yeah, I think he goes over a few of them, which is cool. So Hagrid leaves, and much to Madame Pomfrey's chagrin, Dumbledore told Madame Pomfrey that Harry should be able to go to the end of your feast. So he goes down by himself, he walks in, and it was decorated in Slytherin colors with a huge banner of a serpent behind the professor's tables. Dumbledore quiets the students after Harry fits in between Ron and Hermione, and he starts giving his end of year speech. And he then announces the points. And he says, the points stand thus. In 4th place, Gryffindor with 312 points. In third, Hufflepuff with 352. Ravenclaw has 426. Slytherin, 472. So for you kids keeping track at home, Gryffindor is in fourth place, losing to Slytherin by 160 points. Largely in part due to 3 Gryffindors being out of bed late one night. Harry, Ron, and Neville each lost 50 points apiece with it just in one go.
Yeah.
But Dumbledore has some announces. He's got to announce that he's got a few last-minute points to dish out. First.
So first.
Tell me.
The internet has completely destroyed this, tore this apart. So the internet's like, oh, Dumbledore just wanted Gryffindor to win and just made a whole bunch of stuff up. And here you go, 10 points for you, 50 points for you. Gryffindor wins.
So Dumbledore also knows that, one, Harry, Hermione, and Neville were out of bed to save Hagrid.
Yeah.
Right? So Dumbledore knows that. They also know that, and this is all speculation here, if you're that close to the end of year and you lose 150 points, did the other Gryffindors really try to earn points after that happened?
It kind of seems like they didn't.
Yeah, it's like there's no way we can catch up. Like, we just lost 150 points. We were doing great. And Dumbledore also knows Gryffindor lost their last. So at this point, Harry is undefeated in Quidditch. Gryffindor loses a match because Harry is in the hospital wing in a coma because he tried to stop Lord Voldemort from coming back into power. So, to all of the trolls, that's right, and haters on the internet, I think what Dumbledore did was appropriate and justified.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No.
I could be wrong there, but I
mean, it's another one of those things where he could have done this, or why did he do that, or why didn't it go like this? It's part of the story, man.
Sure, part of the story. So, here are the points. First, to Mr. Ronald Weasley for the best played game of chess Hogwarts has seen in many years. I award Gryffindor House 50 points. Now they're only down 110 points. Second, to Miss Hermione Granger for the use of cool logic in the face of fire. I award Gryffindor House 50 points. We're only down 90 now. Only down 60 points now. Third, to Mr. Harry Potter, said Dumbledore, for pure nerve and outstanding courage. I award Gryffindor House 60 points. So now the Great Hall goes absolutely insane. They had been cheering for Ron's points. They cheered for Hermione's points. Now the Great Hall goes absolutely insane. They're now tied with Slytherin. And the thought is, if only Dumbledore had given Harry just one more point. But Dumbledore's not done. And this one, I think, is super awesome.
Well, this is the one that gets the most.
This is the one
backlash also online. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Why he got the points, but everyone out there is like, just they needed a couple more points to win, and here you go, Neville.
Sure,
but
it's
great. It's great.
I love it. Because right now the reader doesn't understand Neville's history.
Yeah.
Right? Dumbledore does. Dumbledore knows a lot. And Neville is a great character.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In the books. His arc is amazing, but his backstory is almost as
devastating.
Devastating as Harry's.
Yeah.
So Dumbledore goes on, there are all kinds of courage. It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends. I therefore award 10 points to Mr. Neville Longbottom. And the crowd goes wild. Absolute pandemonium. Not just Gryffindors,
Yeah.
but Hufflepuffs and Ravenclaws. And Harry looks over and sees the Draco.
Yes. Yeah.
The face
the
of
disappointment.
Draco.
Yeah.
But Gryffindor.
What a moment for
wins.
Neville, though. Like,
What a moment! Because remember, he's been outcast with Harry, the same with Harry and Hermione. But Harry, Hermione, they had Ron, so they were good. They did their thing. Neville was absolutely ghosted by everyone. Somebody who already had self-confidence issues.
and he won the House Cup.
He won the House Cup.
Oh, that's great. And people will understand why it's so great the farther we get.
Yep.
Such a fun part in the book to read, honestly. What a comeback, what a scene, and so awesome to see that happen for Neville. Honestly. So, if you're doing the math, Gryffindor is now in the lead by how many points?
10 points. I'll give you 10 points.
10 points. They were in the first place. Gryffindor wins the House Cup. With a clap of his hands, Dumbledore had changed the decorations from Slytherin to Gryffindor, which I also think is great. Just everything changes. Oh, I love it. Love magic. It's great. Snape had to grudgingly shake Professor McGonagall's hand because they won 7 years
7
running?
years in a row.
Yeah.
Either this was the 7th year or it had been they've won it the last 7 years. Yeah.
I think it makes sense that they won 7 years.
Yeah.
Harry knew that this would only further drive Snape's dislike towards him, but he didn't care. This was the best night of his life, and rightfully so. He almost died, and then he comes back to life, quote unquote. Gets to go to a feast, and then he wins the House Cup. Well, Neville technically, I guess, helped him win the House Cup, but they team effort. Harry and Ron passed their exams, surprisingly, with good marks, even more surprising. But Hermione had the best exam grades of anyone in their year. No surprise there.
No.
Even Neville scraped through, which...
Yeah, I like how the book says his outstanding test scores in herbology made up for his dismal scores in potions.
I kind of wonder why they even included that. Like, I get Neville's arc and stuff, but was it necessary to put that in there? Even Neville's marks were...
Just slanderous. Completely uncalled for.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Just kind of random to me, it seems. I don't know. Because we never had any indication his grades are suffering. Like, yeah, he's kind of clumsy, knocks stuff over in potions class, but yeah, I don't know. All of the students were packed. They were preparing for their departure from school. They all received letters warning them not to use magic outside of school. A very important bit of information right here, because this is means for expulsion.
Yes.
It's, especially doing that around muggles.
It's an international statute.
Yeah, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. First years used the boats to cross the lake and head back to the Hogwarts Express. Really?
Yep, they used the boats from the Hogwarts Express, and then they used the boats to the Hogwarts Express.
That's kind of cool. Huh, I don't think I ever realized that.
What do they use next year?
Next year's not Thestrals, I mean. Next year, what do they use?
So technically it is.
Is it?
Technically it is Thestrals, but none of them can see...
Because Luna's not introduced that quick.
We're not there when they go. Next year, we're in a flying car.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
We're not there.
A tree. We'll call it.
Yes.
We'll call it that. Then they're traveling past Muggle towns, pulling up to platform 9 3/4, taking their time to get off the platform so they didn't draw too much attention to themselves because Muggles. Ron invites Harry and Hermione to come and spend time at his house during the summer. Ginny is excited to see Harry again.
There he is. There he is, Mom. There he is.
Young love.
Young love. Oh, Jenny.
And then the part we've all been waiting for. Okay, it's not everybody. It's just me. Oh, okay. Uncle Vernon, Aunt Petunia, and Dudley, the Dursleys. Harry looks back, exchanges a few words, and tells them they don't know we're not allowed to use magic at home. I'm going to have a lot of fun with Dudley this summer. Which is, it's great because they aren't they like immediately just scared of him?
Well, their last interaction with magic, Dudley got a piggy tail.
Yes.
And so he's probably emotionally scarred.
Well, you know, one fascinating thing is the fact that the Dursleys showed up to pick Harry up.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, because I could totally see them like, I'm not picking him up. One of you lot can bring him down here.
Well, and they must have gotten a letter.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
You know, they must have gotten a letter from the school.
Remember. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good part.
Yeah, it is. All right, let's get into our final thoughts here. So I'm going to start off by saying my first final thought is I'm glad we're done with book one. I'm glad we're one book closer to book 3.
There you go. There you go. Great introductory book.
Oh, yeah.
To the series. Like I've said in the past, I'd love for her to rewrite it and bring it up to the level of book 3 and beyond. But for what it was, a book for 11-year-olds, fun story, and especially the last chapter, while it's not a cliffhanger, it does leave you wanting to find out, oh, well, what happens in the summer? Do they go to Rocks in the summer? And what happens next year?
And I'm wondering if anybody can remember that's listening to this, what was your reaction to finding out it was Professor Quirrell? If you can remember that far back, or maybe you just recently read the books for the first time. Yeah. Were you surprised? Did you did you think it was Snape? Did you honestly think it was Snape the whole time? I mean, they did a pretty good job setting that up, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to believe it, though. So
sure.
Yeah. No. No. Great chapter. And like I said, I'm surprised that the Dursleys showed up. But I don't think we're going to get too much into our final thoughts on this chapter, only because we have the end of the book review coming up. So I think we'll save most of our final thoughts for that end of the book review.
Sweet.
Yeah. So if you guys, man, thank you guys first and foremost for listening to the podcast this far. It's spreading the love of Harry Potter.
Yeah,
that's all.
This has been a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, no, this is, and it's just the first book. We got several more books. We got the HBO series coming up. We got Fantastic Beasts. Beasts to do. And maybe,
I can be convinced.
Well, yeah, and I think after the 7th book, I might persuade you to read The Cursed Child. I know how you and most people feel about it. I don't know. We're not there yet. That's another 3.5 years down the road. So we'll get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Maybe I'll mature between here and
or demature.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to get in contact with us, just talk to us, or want to be part of the podcast, tell us your Harry Potter story, anything at all, hit us up on Instagram, Squibs Corner, squibscorner@gmail.com. We have a YouTube channel if you're more of a visual person and you want to watch us talk. That's also Squibs Corner over there on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and sign us out with a quote this time. I actually remembered to find a quote. And it kind of fits this chapter. Do not pity the dead, Harry. Pity the living. And above all, those who live without love. Squibs Corner is hosted by Jeremiah Lobot and co-host by Andrew Beecham. We would love to hear from you, so drop us a rate and review, to inquire about being a guest and for questions and comments, or to just give us your Harry Potter story. Email us at squibscorner@gmail.com. To watch Harry Potter merch unboxings, follow my YouTube, @KillPotterGuy. Lastly, you can leave us a voice memo and follow us on Instagram at Squibs Corner Podcast.